Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. This is your girl, Dr. K, and we are tuned into Mind Your Mind Mondays with Dr. K. So, good morning. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. Come on in the room. We are live with Mind Your Mind Mondays with Dr. K. So, I'm going to get started simply because I don't want to prolong it, and I want to get right into it. So, welcome to Mind Your Mind Mondays with Dr. K. This is your girl, Dr. K, and I am um, today we are going to talk about the imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome. So, let me just start out by anytime I'm introducing a um, term or concept or whatever the case may be, I like to give you the definition. So, when we're talking about imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing internal success, despite being a high performing individual, right? And so, people with imposter syndrome generally feel like they're a fraud. They feel like a fraud. Okay. So these are your people that are feeling like they are putting up a facade or really not living up to who they really are. So today we're just going to start the conversation, and then next week I'll come back with some more about the imposter syndrome. So we're going to start out by learning the types of imposter syndrome, the types of um, the types of this syndrome that people suffer from. So our first one is the perfectionist. Okay, perfectionism is something that is very um, I'm going to say, for lack of a better term, popular. Many people suffer from being a perfectionist. They try to be a perfectionist. So many people struggle with this perfectionism. Okay. So when we're talking about the imposter syndrome, our first person who would fit this category is the perfectionist, right? Um, the perfectionism um, and the imposter syndrome usually go hand in hand. Okay. Perfectionists, they leave no room for error. They want everybody to, include themselves, to make no error. They want everything to be spotless, blameless, um, whatever, right? They want everything to go off, quote unquote, perfect. However, when you are talking about uh, doing things, I often say, as a therapist, I often tell people life is all gray, right? So you have your people like your lawyers or your judges, your people that are in law enforcement or whatever the case may be. They are usually your black and white people. Your doctors are usually your black and white people, right? However, when it comes to dealing with people's lives, I often say that it's all gray, right? We never know what we're going to get. We never know what's the best way to go. There's no cookie cutter. That's my phrase. No cookie cutter solution when you're dealing with people in their lives or dealing with people in situations. There's no cookie cutter formula for saying this is how we do it, right? But your perfectionist would really not do well in a situation like that. Um, they generally go through a hard time if they make a mistake, if there's a flaw, if there's a problem, um, if they realize that what they have set out to do is not going to be perfect. This person will generally have a hard time. Um, they have great difficulty with balance because they're so busy trying to make sure nothing goes wrong. Okay. Um, a person who is a perfectionist is very rarely satisfied. They cannot be, they're insatiable, if you will. Okay. They are insatiable, not satisfied, and they very rarely will give a compliment. Okay. Because in their view, it's always something that could have been better. A perfectionist is quick to move into burnout, okay? Or I should say approach burnout. Why? Because they're always working. They're always working, trying to make sure that whatever they're doing, whatever project they set out to do, whatever situation is absolutely flawless. Well, here's the thing. None of us are perfect. Okay, there's no human that's perfect. There's only one that's perfect, and that's the Holy One. And so what I want to say today is, as we are delving into this topic of the imposter syndrome, and the first one being the perfectionist, really you working to no avail, because nothing will ever be what we consider perfect, and there is none perfect, right? So we're going to always make mistakes. We're going to always fall short of something. We're going to always leave something out. I'll give you an example. Just yesterday, I had a Christmas fellowship for my ministry, and we were all gathered. I had the event catered because I felt like I wanted to be able to enjoy my guests. And if anybody knows, when you're doing a big event, and you have a lot of people, and you do a lot of cooking or a lot of planning, you're exhausted at the time of the event. So I didn't want to do that, right? So I said, okay, let me get somebody to cook the food. It was a brunch. And of course, we had to pick up the food because I didn't want them to have to come. I just wanted them to prepare the food. And we were supposed to cook the eggs, right? Well, when everybody got here and everybody got in the flow of everything, and I put the food out, um, we were pretty much finished when I realized, hey, we didn't do the eggs, right? And so I went and I said to everybody, listen, guys, we forgot the eggs. Does anybody want eggs? Well, by that time, everybody was full, right? And they were like, no. One person said, yeah, I want eggs. But then they said, well, do you have to cook them? And I said, yes. And they were like, no, we don't want the eggs. What is my point? My point is, if I was somebody who cracked under the situation of that not being perfect, I would still be upset. I wouldn't have been able to sleep last night. I would have been, saying all kinds of degrading things to myself, right? How could I have forgotten that? What's wrong with me? Blah, 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 blah. Well, listen, everybody had a great time. We had more than enough food. We had food left over. And guess what? We didn't have the eggs. It's life, no big deal. So we had a whole brunch without eggs. Imagine that, right? So a person who is a perfectionist, they will generally burn themselves out because they they don't it bothers them when something is out of place. It bothers them when something doesn't go as planned. It really puts a damper on their activity, their spirits, whatever it is they're doing. um and I want to just say, I want to encourage you, as your mental health medic, and as we are looking at Mind Your Mind Mondays, um lighten up on yourself. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. We're gonna make mistakes. Things are not gonna go as planned. Some things are gonna fall through the crack. Listen, you're one person, and you're human, and there's a thing called human error. Okay, so from to all of my perfectionists, um lighten up on yourself. It's just not that deep. Like, life is just not that heavy, and we don't want to stroke ourselves out trying to be something that we will never be, because guess what? We will never be perfect, no matter how hard we try, no matter how much we try to put into it. Something's going to happen. Something's going to fall through the cracks. Something's not going to go the way we planned. And guess what? We all live. We still live. We're here to tell the story. And we wake up the next day with new mercies, and keep it moving. So this is our Mind Your Mind Monday segment for today. I just want to remind you that none of us are perfect. We all have fallen short, have come short and fallen short of the glory of God, right? All of us, every last one of us. All of us have sinned, all of us have made mistakes. And guess what? We will continue to make mistakes, okay? Um and it's okay. We'll live, we'll survive. All right. So, this is our segment, the beginning of our segment on imposter syndrome. We talked about the perfectionist, who is goes hand in hand with that imposter syndrome. None of us are perfect. Stop trying to be something that I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but stop trying to be something that you will never be. Allow God to grace you, accept your error, accept your mistakes, and keep it moving. All right. So this is your girl, Dr. K. You've been tuned into Mind Your Mind Mondays, and remember, don't be so hard on yourself. Life is short and time is precious. And guess what? We Today is a day that we'll never get back. So enjoy it. Smell the roses. Enjoy um, everything that life has to offer you for today. Today only. Okay. God bless you. I'll see you next week for Mind Your Mind Mondays, and we will continue our segment on imposter syndrome. God bless you. Love you, and you can't do a thing about it. Listen, if you want to find me, you can find me at www.findingyourwaynow.com, or you can call my office at 833-646-3342. Now, why am I giving you this information? We just talked about none of us are perfect. We need help sometimes. We need to um, gather ourselves sometimes, okay? And so, with that being said, sometimes we need additional help. And so, as your mental health medic, as your personal therapist, as your favorite therapist out there, you can contact me via the information that I gave you, or via all social media platforms. Listen, I'm the best. And how do I know that? How can I say that confidently? I got the award to say that I'm the best out there, right? So come see me, check me out. Look me up. I'm on all social media platforms, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn. I don't really do Twitter too much, but you can find me on my social media. Plus, you can go to my website and you can also contact me. My number is 833-646-3342. Again, I love you and you can't do anything about it. This is your girl, Dr. K. Have a blessed, phenomenal day on purpose.